Welcome to the Work for Change podcast. My name is John, spelled like Gene.
And my name is John with an H.
Silent H.
Silent H.
Silent H. Get your own intro right.
I'm sorry, I'm learning still. This is episode 12
of the Work for Change podcast.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we're going to be starting today's episode, how we're going to be starting the rest of the episodes, which if you listened to the whole episode last week, which I would be surprised if, honestly, you got to the very end because we were kind of just rambling.
I don't know. We had some riveting conversation the last about 10 minutes. We were like, yeah, we have so much to talk about.
Yeah. It was but we decided that we want to read a review starting every episode. So from now until eternity, we're going to be starting by reading a review. So this week's review comes from Sky Medic 5, and it says, "So great. Been listening since the first episode. Love it, guys. Great job. Easy to listen to, and I don't get annoyed like some other podcasts. So just give it some time, and we will annoy you very much."
Yeah, I really want to know what podcasts they're listening to. Yeah. That they're like,
they're just like listening to like, this podcast is so stupid. These people are so annoying to me. I'm gonna keep listening though.
I know, or like just like it's just like some podcasts I listen to. You can kind of hear it as like some podcasts I listen to where they're just like blatantly like calling someone out for no reason.
Yeah, but so if you want to be featured on one of the podcast review reading things, just review us on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Let us know what you think, and hopefully you'll be the next person to get read on the podcast, on live podcasting.
Yeah, and also you can always just leave a comment on the YouTube video. We do look at them. We do reply to them either as Work for Change or as our own. So then you kind of know who's talking.
Yep.
Some of them, sometimes people like will do something and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I agree with Jean," and then I'll reply as Work for Change. And I'm like, "Oh, I wonder who they think is talking to them." Mm-hmm. So sometimes we'll reply from our own respective YouTube channels. But speaking of, needlessly calling someone out. I see that you have been calling people out with your "let's get this bread."
Dude. So, okay.
We can all agree. "Let's get this bread" is a saying. And not only is it a meme. It's not only, it's a meme, but not only that, but it's like saying hustle, or it's not about bread. It's a buzzword right now that a lot of people are saying, and therefore it is being memeified and it is being just put into pop culture.
And it's not actually about bread. The actual phrase, right? "Let's get this bread" isn't actually saying let's get some bread.
It's an idiom.
It's an idiom for let's make some money, let's get this, let's do it, let's do our thing. And I like to use it and actually talk about bread because I'm just joking around. And recently I did a Q&A on funny that you brought this up. I did a Q&A on Instagram, which was actually really fun, and I think I'm going to do more of those because the questions were actually really fun to answer, and I had a lot of fun answering them. And surprisingly, because you know how on your stories you can see how many people are watching and are looking, and I was just assuming that people would be like, the drop-off would be terrible, right? Like people would, the first few questions, and people would be like, I don't care anymore. But like most of the people stayed for the whole thing, which I was surprised of because I answered 25 questions, but someone asked me about keto, what I think about keto, and I was just saying, I don't think, personally for me, it's not something that I'm going to do. I don't think that it's the best diet for me. I like carbs, basically, is what I said. And then there was another person that like screenshotted that and then sent me like a question, like a reply on Instagram, so not even the story, and they said, "I don't get why you are so negative to keto. I always see you bashing it by saying let's get this bread." And so I replied, and I was like, "I'm not bashing it. I just like bread."
Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird, like what people will get offended or take offense to, not even get offended by, but just. They'll cling on to that he's talking about bread. He must be making fun of me because I'm doing keto. Why? How dare he make fun of me? It's interesting. It's weird.
Well, and that's the dangerous part about. I've made a video on this, and it honestly didn't do that well, and I was kind of bummed about it. Not because I wanted a bunch of views, but because I felt like the topic and the point was solid. It's like, don't let your diet become your religion. Right? So if you hear somebody's talking about bread and you're doing keto and you think they're attacking you, that's not good.
Yeah.
You can do keto just like with CrossFit, right? Like you can do CrossFit and not like tell everyone in the world that you're doing CrossFit. It's the same thing with...
I don't know about that. We have literally started a podcast so more people can hear us talk about CrossFit.
But like if somebody is talking like, you know, about bread and you feel like that's attacking you, not just keto, it's like attacking you personally, that's probably not the best. You're probably maybe should rein things back a little bit and be like, okay, I understand like keto can be really important to you and that's fine, but it shouldn't be your identity, shouldn't be that you do keto. Just like your identity shouldn't be that you do CrossFit.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think it's good things turn into bad things when you make them all you're about, right? Mm-hmm. So anything, no matter what, like if someone loves coffee, which we both have a cup in front of us.
Yeah, and you're drinking out of a paper cup.
I don't even think it's a paper cup. I think it's more of like the
that
wax,
thing is flimsy.
the wax sealed cups,
that thing is
where
flimsy.
I'd imagine the wax is actually getting into the coffee.
He had it in a regular cup and then decided I don't like this cup, so then he poured it in that, and I'm just waiting for it to start seeping out of the bottom. Is what
I don't think it will. I think we'll be fine.
Right,
but
we'll
if I loved coffee. And if someone said, I don't like coffee, I like tea, and I'm like, ugh, how dare you? Are you attacking me? What, is this like a discrimination against me because I like coffee? And it's that is a stupid example, which I'm really good at giving.
Yeah, you are.
But it goes in, like, that's where you see like people who get offended or mad or about every little thing. And it's so hard because you can't even say, let's get this bread on the internet without someone being like, he offended me.
Yeah. And I mean, again, that is kind of a silly thing. Like I genuinely wasn't, I could have cared less. Like I wasn't like mad at the person. And then
yeah,
funny, so they responded to me and they're all, yeah, okay. Like I was like lying to, and I was just like, okay, I'm not even gonna, like I didn't even respond. And I was just like, but yeah, it's definitely, that's one of the things that being in, I don't know, like the spotlight, however, you know, it's not like I'm some huge famous person, but I've realized that you can't live your life trying to not offend other people, because then you're not living your life.
Yeah.
Then this is actually a really good topic. It was something that I was really struggling with a while ago. It's been a while since I've like really struggled with it, but for a long time I was making decisions based on like how many people am I not going to offend doing this? Like how can I do stuff that is going to make everyone happy? And in reality, it just doesn't happen. And so then you aren't even happy with the decisions you're making, and they're still making other people unhappy anyways. So you're trying to cater to everybody. It's not working, so you're unhappy, but then you're still offending people anyways. So what I've realized is, you know what? I'm just going to be myself and not try and cater to anybody, just try and, you know, be the best version of myself. And I think that by doing that, you're probably not going to be offending people as much. And you know what I mean? At least that's what's happened with me. And now if I am offending someone, like with the bread thing, I'm just like, no, I'm not going to bite. You know, that doesn't upset me. But before it would, because it's like, I'm still upsetting people and I'm not even happy with the person I'm being right now because I'm trying to cater to these people and they're not even happy. So I think that's actually a really good point, is like, you just got to be yourself, especially like if you're trying to be out there in social media. And obviously I know this probably doesn't apply to most of the people that are listening, but there's always going to be somebody that doesn't agree with what you're saying. And so as long as you genuinely believe in what you're saying and you really do think that it's positive and it's going to help people, then especially when it comes to like diets and weight loss, because obviously there's everything that I say, there's going to be someone contradicting and saying that it's wrong. And so as long as I feel like I'm not hurting anybody and I genuinely believe in what I'm saying, which I do, then I'm not too worried about, you know, about hurting other people's feelings or anything like that.
Yeah. And then, you know, especially in the world of social media, like people create accounts to be offended. Like they'll make an account that is solely purpose is to go and troll, make fun of people, you know, and so it's don't spend any mental energy on people who are just, you know, I don't know, like obviously like don't go out there and be a D-bag and like be a jerk on purpose, but like know what you stand for and be okay with that and stand firm in what you believe, because not everyone will agree with you. But there are people who do agree with you, and your opinions and your feelings and the way you see things are valid. And so many people want you to believe that if you don't believe what they believe, then you don't deserve to have an opinion. And that's just not true. And it's just a whole bunch of malarkey.
It's a whole bunch of baloganoff.
Balogany.
So one thing that I wanted to talk about in the podcast today is something that we get asked a lot about is obviously we do CrossFit. in case you guys didn't know. And a lot of people, especially, at least a lot of my followers, are interested in it, but they're nervous about starting. And the question that I get a ton of, and I'm asking you this, is, I want to start CrossFit, but I feel like I need to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds. I need to be in better shape to start. What would you say to someone that feels that way?
I would use a different example and see if it sounds ridiculous to them. So
another example from you. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So what I would say is fill in the blank. I want to start CrossFit, but I feel like I need to lose weight is the same thing as saying I want to learn how to drive, but I feel like I have to know how to drive. I want to this is a common one. I want to go to church, but I feel like I need to be a better person. Mm-hmm. I want to go to the hospital, but I feel like I need to feel better first. Like in these other examples, it doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. The way you learn is by doing it. It's the first step that matters. The first step is the scariest for sure, but that is how you learn.
Yeah.
Is through the experience. And so I want to lose weight. I want to get fit. So I need to lose weight before I get fit. Mm-hmm. It's no, you work to get fit and you're going to lose weight. You study, you take driver's classes, and you learn how to drive. The process is how. It is not this, you do one thing to get another thing. You do that thing, and you will get to that end goal. That's kind of the way I always imagine it.
Yeah, and I do understand where people are coming from because it is, especially with like CrossFit in general, you see the videos of people doing like muscle ups and people doing crazy workouts, Rich Froning and Matt Frazier, and like that's what people see.
John Glaude.
Then they're like, oh, I can do that for sure.
No,
I can
they're like, oh, that's intimidating.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, like that guy has so much back hair.
I shave.
Like, I don't want to go there.
About once a week.
You don't shave. You don't shave.
Anyway,
Sam shaves your back for you.
It's a very tricky process that we don't need to get like deeper into on this podcast. There's a lot of moving. A lot of moving.
Can
elements.
we talk about the steps from 1 to 7? How you guys?
No, we will not.
But but like when it comes to CrossFit, like I understand why people are kind of like intimidated. And so what I would say is, one, you have to go to the gym first, or even if you don't want to like go to the gym, at least call them, or most likely email, because a lot of times it's not like at CrossFit gyms there's nobody like working a front desk. So if you are calling someone, a lot of times it's like their cell phone. So what I would say is like email people. Let them know that you want to come in, because then they can give you information. Do they have beginners classes? Do they have a foundations class, which a foundations class is going to teach you how to do an air squat and how to do all the basic movements, so you at least understand when they say, we're going to be doing 15 burpees, you know what a burpee is, right? If you literally have no at all clue, right? So I would say do that. And then what I would say also is go to the gym, try it out, but don't feel like you're obligated, because you're not. And you can always try out different gyms, because, there are some gyms are better than other gyms. Like, that's just the reality of it. So I would say do that. And then also, this is something that I recommend this to people that are just trying to, even if you're just trying to go to a normal gym and you want to feel more confident, is like look up videos online. I literally have a video on my second channel that's like what it's like going into a CrossFit class. And it shows you exactly, at least at our gym, how we do the warm up and the workouts and all that stuff. And so, if that's something that you're worried about and something that you want to do, one, I don't think that there's no prerequisite when it comes to CrossFit, or when it comes to any sort of fitness routine. It's just about you have to just start. But again, like I understand why people feel like they need to lose weight before, but it's just silly, because there's always, so with CrossFit, right, it's infinitely scalable. So you can always, if you can't do pull-ups, there's going to be ring rows or banded pull-ups, or like literally anything that somebody is doing that might be a high skill movement, there's going to be an option for you to do as well. And so you're not going to be in the way. You're just going to be doing something different, but you're still trying to get the same stimulus as the person that is doing ring muscle ups or doing bar muscle ups or doing handstand walks or whatever it might be, right? There's always an option for you. So that's what I would say to the person, is like, just don't be focused on, like, it always comes down to focusing on other people.
Yeah.
It's like, don't be focused on the dude that's doing, 15 ring muscle ups unbroken. Like, focus on you and what you need to do. Work on your air squat or whatever it might be, because again, like the way that guy got there was by starting with nothing. Maybe he was a little bit athletic at the start, but like I know for me, I was afraid to do a box jump the first time I went to a gym, right? And so that all came from me working and working and working for these past 2 years and trying to get where I'm at now. So,
I mean, even you recently, like when we all worked out together a couple weeks ago, we had that workout where it was like, it was, what was it, 12 box jumps in a minute, but it was 30 inches. And even for you, that was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And we're like, you can do it. And you're like, I don't know. But it was not like overcoming a fear, sure.
No, yeah.
But like,
totally was.
Yeah, overcoming a fear, but it's also learning that you are more capable than you give yourself credit for. And I want to say, like, especially for the person who's just coming into the gym for the first time, you are more capable than you are giving yourself credit for. If you're afraid of going into a CrossFit gym because you don't think you're going to fit in, it's a group of people who enjoy working out and they want to live fit, the fittest they can be, you know? And so if you're coming in with that goal, like, you're going to fit in. You're going to be fine. Like, people will not take care of you. That's not what I want to say, but people will not
ridicule you, at least.
They will not ridicule you. Gosh, jeez.
Come on, get it together, man.
They will not ridicule you, and they will not let you fail just to make fun of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
100%.
Like, if you go in and you're like, my first time ever, and I want to do a handstand push-up, the coach is probably going to be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
But if you go up and kick up against the wall, and hurt yourself, they're not gonna be like, that's so funny. They'll be like, all right, don't do that again. You know?
That's a good point. Yeah. Cause like there's definitely like this whole kind of mentality, or like, you always see these videos of people, gym fails, right? People doing stuff at gyms that are wrong, and so people see that and they take out their phone and they film them and they put it on a video and it's funny or whatever. But you don't really, like, the only time you ever see like CrossFit fails is like when someone's like trying to snatch or something like that, right? But like, you don't see people like making fun of and trying to, like, usually if it's a CrossFit fail, the person knows they're getting filmed. They're filming it themselves.
Yeah,
and
they're
fail,
probably
right?
the ones who uploaded it.
It's not like this secret, because at a CrossFit, I could never see that happening, right? Like, seeing somebody that's obviously doesn't know what they're doing or isn't at a level that they want to be at, and trying to like sneakily film them to make fun of them to show their other friends at the gym. That would never happen here, because the people here would not have it.
People wouldn't have it.
If I saw that, I would swing on someone.
Straight up.
I would swing on them.
I will throw a barbell.
I will throw a barbell at your head if I saw you making fun of someone in my gym.
And also, that's kind of where people go with the price of CrossFit, right? If you're paying $10 a month at a gym where there's a not even a head coach, a front desk person who, doesn't have any personal training, no nothing. They're just there to log people in, log people out. That's where you get a lot more of those people who don't know what they're doing and they're just going for it. Part of why CrossFit is so expensive is because you have a personal coach there all the time. Even during open gym, there's someone there who you'll be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. All right, let's work on it. Hey, I'm just having a mind blank and I just want to move. All right, let's write this workout out for you. There's someone there for you on your team at all times. And everything that we're saying is standard to a CrossFit gym. If you're at a CrossFit gym and the coach is on their phone, if you're like not paying attention to you, if you're at a CrossFit gym and they're just not coaching you, you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not developing, you're paying too much, and you need to, and you really
you're not getting your money.
You got to consider, like, it might be time to change gyms, or if there is a way to bring that up in a non-confrontational manner to the head coach or something, then go ahead and do that. But everything we're talking about, like, that's just what comes with the cost. And if you're not getting that, then you're getting taken out of your money or whatever. If you could, so we're talking about people who probably haven't done CrossFit before. If you could try one training method you haven't done yet, what do you think you would try?
If I could try like
for me, I've really been interested in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done anything about it. I haven't even looked at anything up about it. But it's like, when I started CrossFit, it was an inkling in the back of my head. And then the more it got louder and louder and louder and louder until it got to the point where I'm like, I need to try this. And it's kind of, I still would do CrossFit 100%. But now it's like, man, I kind of want to like learn just some of that stuff. Like just a little bit of grappling. Like that'd be kind of fun to like throw in. Like, oh, on a Saturday, let's get a couple people and we'll mess around, we'll throw it around, you know? Do you have anything that
I have like 2.
Okay.
So I've said it before, but I've always thought that boxing was really interesting, and I think that it looks like a great workout.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
I'm not like, so I'm sure there's like things you can do. I know there's like boxing classes, but that's not really boxing.
It's like boxing skills set to a cardio.
Yeah. So I think it would be cool to do like an actual boxing like workout with like a coach or whatever, but just, no sparring. Or if I'm sparring, it's me just hitting back. I just don't want to get hit. I'm not trying to get hit in the face. It's just, for me, it looks fun, but I don't need that. Like that's just not for me.
Even with like the head,
maybe I don't know. I'm not trying to cry in the gym, okay? Because I will cry. So there's a story.
If I get hit in the nose, 100% I'm crying.
I'm crying. Yeah. I'm gonna cry, and it's not because of a reaction. It's because that hurt my face, and I'm crying now. I actually have a story. I ended up. This is a shortened version. I was in like high school. I think I was in like 10th grade. These kids that I thought were my friends brought me to this other play. I was at this youth center. They brought me to like this street that we used to hang out. I was like, oh, what's up? And then I ended up getting punched in the face, and I thought I was about to get jumped. So you know what I did? I cried. That's it. I didn't fight back because at the time, I thought I was about to get jumped by 15 kids. Luckily, just one kid was like freaking out, and everyone kind of was like, you just need to leave, and they got me out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just would not do well. So yeah, that's the time I got punched in the face and cried. But the other thing that it's not really a training methodology, but like sport that I've always been interested in is tennis.
Really?
Yeah. It just looks fun. It looks like I remember I played it a little bit when I was heavier, and I had fun. I couldn't play for very long, but it's fun. Yeah, I like it.
I had a couple friends who would play tennis on Monday nights, and I would join them.
Oh gosh.
And I don't have depth perception.
Yeah, I know you don't.
So I got over it really quick. I did it like 3 or 4 times, and it was just like, come on, guys.
I kind of missed it.
Yeah.
John, the ball's not even coming. I'm just gonna keep swinging until hopefully I hit something.
You guys have like a bigger racket. Like, can you guys just help me out here somehow?
Can I use 2 rackets?
Yeah. Even then, that would not be good.
A racket's like 10 feet wide.
Yeah, exactly. Like, John, you just have a net. Yeah. It's not even hitting it back to us. It's just you're catching it and then throwing it back.
John, why'd you take your shirt off? Why are you running around screaming and crying again?
It's happening again. Flashbacks of what you guys don't know is anytime I do a sport, I just mentally crack.
We were just playing chess. I don't understand.
The pressure. the pressure got to me, and I cracked. I've been kicked out of multiple recreational sports leagues for a variety of reasons. Sometimes I just take my clothes off. Other times I just start screaming at the refs for no reason. I start yelling rules that don't apply at all. That is a violation of Rulebook 73, Penal Code 67.
It's like he's not even participating. He's just watching and he's freaking out. He just starts streaking. Ah! Oh, man. Yeah, you should do that. That sounds like a good idea.
I think that...
I don't think you should do jiu-jitsu.
No, I think I should.
Why? So you can get naked and wrestle?
I think that they would like it. No. It's something that that requires physical demand. Mm-hmm. Which I wouldn't have been able to do when I was not as in shape, right? It's something that is afforded to me because now I am in shape. And what's weird and what's crazy, and like I don't want to sound like, oh, people who aren't fit can't do that, because that's what we're talking about. But when you do get in shape, there are things you can do now that others can't. And that is not a discriminatory thing, and that is not a disqualifying thing for people. It should be an encouraging and like I want to achieve this. We talked with Jacob Hepner when he was talking about the YWAM and the camps where you go on hikes and you hand out Bibles, and they're really demanding hikes, so they need people who are in top physical shape. And so it's like there are things that are afforded to you when you are just at a relative level of health, not even like crazy psycho, 5% body fat or whatever, like just a relative level of health. And that's one of the things that I want to do with my fitness.
Well, and it's like it doesn't even have to be anything crazy like that. Like for me, one of the things I remember when I was obese was I couldn't tie my shoe. So what I mean by that is like when I was sitting down, I could not bend over and reach my shoe. I couldn't. So I literally so all of my shoes were tied very loose because I had to be able to slip them on. That was it. Like I had to, right? So what I would do is I would take my shoe off, I would tie it on my lap, and I would knot it really tight, but it would still be really loose, right? So it's not like I would squeeze, So I would double knot it, and then I'd just be able to slip my feet in, and so it's crazy because I remember when that was like an issue for me.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I don't think when people that have never been obese talk about stuff, like it's hard to relate to that if you've never felt like that. It's hard to relate to like when, people are doing burpees and you're able to jump in the air. Like I remember there was a time when I don't remember the last time I jumped.
Yeah.
Because I was like that large. And I was lucky that I was always slightly kind of physically active when I was bigger. Like I used to skateboard everywhere, and falling when I was that big hurt really bad. That was not fun. And I remember I would get so frustrated because I skated my whole life. Like we skated all growing up, and I literally was never able to do like really anything. I was able to do ollies, and because of just how big I was. And I think part of it was mentally, like I was so afraid to fall because it hurt so bad when I would fall, that I would never, I would never try anything downstairs. I would never really go on the ramps because this is going back again in time. When I was really young, I was on rollerblades, and like, when you're young and you don't know anything about physics or you don't know anything about, like, you're just like not afraid. You're fearless, right?
Yeah.
So I was at the skate park and I was on rollerblades, like just doing my thing, like Brink status from Disney Channel, right? And I saw like a quarter pipe, and I was like, I got this. And so I was like, all right, here we go. And I went down, whap, just fell on my tailbone so hard. I did not move for 5 minutes. I was on the ground. Like,
did you cry?
Yes, of course I cried. I'm a big crybaby, man. I was like, I could not believe how bad my tailbone hurt. I thought I was for sure like paralyzed or something because I could not move. And then of course there's kids just like right next to my head, and I'm just like, And so I think ever since that happened, I've been like even when I did skate, I was able to go down a couple ramps, but it was never the quarter pipes. It was always just like the ones that were not like a, I don't even know how to explain it.
It wasn't like a vert. It was more like
just
ramp.
a slow ramp. Yeah. And so, but that was that did not feel good either. That was terrible. That hurt really bad. But yeah, so sorry, I got sidetracked. But yeah, there's like, even like that's obviously like a different level, but that's the things like it's almost like when you lose weight, you unlock things for yourself. And like for me, there was a couple things that I wanted to unlock. Like it's like life is a video game, right? But like there was a couple things I wanted to unlock. One of the big things for me, even when I was heavier, I always enjoyed, I wouldn't say fashion, not like high fashion, but I just enjoy clothes and like wanted to look nice. And there was very, very small amounts of clothes that I could wear. There was not many people that made sizes for me. So I wore a lot of Do Work stuff. So Big Black from, rest in peace, from Robin Big. I had a lot of his clothes. Dickies were like the only pants I wore because they only, size 56. There's no jeans you could really buy. So I wore a lot of Dickies. And then there was like Rockaware would make stuff my size. And I had a couple Rockaware jeans. So when I look at pictures, they were so big, so big. And obviously, like when the waist is that big, it's always going to be a really long. Yeah. The inseam is super long, but it's not like I ever got them tailored. So there's just like so much fabric. So yeah, that was one of the main things I wanted to be able to go into a store and buy stuff. And it was hard because I worked at the Van store, the shoe store, and we got 50% off. I'm not sure if they still do that. It's awesome. It was a really good discount. But all I could get there, because at the time I was like almost at my biggest size. I was like 5 or 6 XL, 4 or 5 XL. And the largest size they went to was a 2 XL, and that was like not in much stuff. And so all I could get was shoes there, and they had pants too. But all I could get was shoes, and then even then, it's not like I could wear all the shoes because of how big how fat my feet were, how large my ankles were, and just when I would stand, they would get even wider. So a lot of the shoes I couldn't even wear. So there were only couples that I could wear. So I remember the first time that I was able to actually, because when I started losing weight while I worked there, and I remember when I was able to buy. At first, I wore just plain shirts because it was either you had to wear a Vans shirt or if you. I'm assuming there wasn't that many people that couldn't fit into them, but part of it was like if you can't wear that, a plain T-shirt. So I would buy 5XL plain T-shirts, and then eventually I lost enough weight to where they were able to special order 3XL just plain Vans shirts. So that was really cool. But then I remember when the first time I tried on a 2XL at the store, and I was able to fit into it, and I was like super stoked. I took a picture and
did you cry?
No, I didn't cry.
I just gotta know now.
It was just a little bit. But I remember that was like that was something I was able to like unlock by losing weight and things that people don't realize.
Do you remember the first time you tied your shoes with them on your feet?
No, I don't. I don't remember that. I think that was probably something that just kind of naturally happened. I probably didn't even think about it.
You probably like tied them in your lap for a long time.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And then one day we're like, oh, I can just do this 100%. On my foot.
No, but it's so true. Like when things would drop, I would be like. If I was sitting, I couldn't get it right, so I would have to stand up and lean on something and grab it.
I still have to do that.
That's because you have a bad back. It's just because you're old.
So what's funny is your reaction of when you fell on the roller skate was like I hurt my back deadlifting before CrossFit, and that time I was with a friend and we just left.
No. You need to say what you did.
No, I thought it would be a smart idea to do a 10 by 10
deadlift.
Yeah,
heavy for you.
Heavy for me, it was 135.
Yeah.
But
heavy for me was the bar.
Yeah. Back then, it
was it really 135?
135, yeah. Which is what's crazy is it wasn't a crazy. I wasn't like
for John now. That's because you recently did what was it? You set of 18, right? For the Misfit.
Yeah,
and we did 245.
Yeah, I did a set of 18 for 245 and felt good. And have hit a 435 deadlift, but back then
I've hit a 450.
Yeah, I know, whatever.
I'm just saying.
Just for context.
Yeah, for context that I'm stronger than you are.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So,
in case people were wondering,
how many ring muscle ups can you do in a row? How many bar muscle ups can you do in a row?
5.
Okay.
Yeah,
you've done. I mean, I've
done 5.
Still crush you at that. I did 5 in the middle of a workout.
See what
totally
I do?
Did, so.
Okay, well, let's talk about that before we go into this.
Wait, no. Hold on.
Right,
we gotta follow the linear progression here. So the first time I did that 10 by 10, hurt my back during deadlift. It was terrible.
135. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was also wearing like squishy shoes. Like it just was stupid.
It's when John used to be a huge fan of Christian Guzman.
Yeah.
And you saw Christian Guzman do it?
And the online coach.
And he thought to himself,
that sounds fun.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to the gym later. Didn't know what I was going to do. This is why you need a coach.
Yeah.
Everyone.
10 by 10.
And so then it was a couple of weeks later. My back's feeling a little bit better. I go to the gym and I do some deadlifts. And as I'm taking the weight off the bar, you're in a compromised position. Pinch. My back did the same exact thing. I just like sat on the weight and just literally sat there with like half the weight unracked, the other half still sitting on the barbell, sitting on the weights. I was like, all right, I'm going to try to put this away. Bend over, still hurts. So I just left the gym with the weight out. Because
Did you talk to anybody?
No, I couldn't do it. I was so embarrassed.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh at you in that position. But it's just funny. Just watch it. If
I
saw someone leave and I saw the weight there, I'd be like, for real?
But I looked like I was hurting.
Yeah.
So I think someone would be like, yeah, that didn't go well for him. Like, and especially it's like at like a regular gym, it's like ego is such a big thing.
Huge,
it gets
man.
such a.
When I'm at a regular gym, I can feel it coming up.
Yeah. And
I can feel like people are looking at me.
Yeah.
I'm so buff. And it's like, I hate that, but I can't help it.
And so I just left the weights there and my back hurt so bad. And like, I'm on, like, for everyone who like knows me personally, like my back is like a regular issue.
Yeah.
Like it's a regular
If there's
thing.
ever running, Jean's back is going to tighten up.
Yeah. And so, anyway, that was my being crippled. Only, mine is more dramatic than yours. You're just a little kid and you just still decided to make fun of me, but it's cool.
You made fun of me when I was a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's go back to you trying to... Well, it's not even... I mean, I'm going to look bad. But with the so this weekend or this Friday, Jean and I both did Fantasyland. Which, if you don't know what that is, can you explain it?
It is 21, 15, 9, 95-pound thrusters and pull-ups, which everyone knows as Fran. And then it is 15, 12, 9 thrusters at a heavier weight and chest-to-bar pull-ups. And then it is 12, 9, 6 thrusters at the heaviest weight, 135, and bar muscle-ups.
Yeah. And so for me, and there was a time cap, 30 minutes. So if you guys watch listen to the last podcast, you will know that the last muscle up workout I did was terrible. I could do 2, and then I could not do any more, and I got really mad, and I was upset with myself. So this past week, as I said, I focused on doing muscle-ups. So I was doing muscle-ups every other day, probably, just working on them. And so when I saw that we were going to be doing Fantasyland, I was excited, but also really nervous, because I was like, I've been putting in the work, but it's scary, because when you actually have been putting in the work, and things don't go right, that hurts. That does not feel good.
Yeah.
That does not feel good. So I was like, I'm really excited to test myself, but I'm also terrified, because what if they do not go well again? And I was focused on having a good day regardless. So I was focused on effort over outcome. So focusing on how much I pushed myself. So not giving up no matter how many muscle ups I failed, right? So I was focused on that. So I went into the workout, and it was like I was really pacing myself on the first 2 Frans, if you want to call it that. So my PR on Fran is 3:26, I think, or something like that. So I finished Fran for the first part of the workout in like 5 something. So I was going much slower, and then I finished the second part in like 13:08 or something like that. So I was just really pacing myself, because I knew this workout is going to be it's a muscle up workout for me. So then
For everyone.
For everyone. But for, like, in my head, this is what I'm thinking, right? And so then I got to Fran, I got to the muscle ups, and I was just focused on, getting them, obviously. And so I started with just doing doubles. And I was able to stick to that for the first 12. They went pretty well, and I was like, all right, this is going great. And then I did the thrusters. I got back to the 9s, and they were going pretty good. And then I started failing a couple. But that didn't last for too long, and I finished the 9s. I was able to do, like, I ended up doing a set of 3 in there, I think, at one point, and then I was doing like 2s and a single or something like that. And then I get back, so I do the thrusters, I get back to the last 6, and I failed, I don't even know how many, maybe 5 or 6 times. I got like 1, I'd fail like 3, I got another 1. No, that's not what happened. So I failed a bunch, and then I ended up getting a set of 3, and then I failed some more, and I got my last set of 3. Something like that. And then I was able to finish the workout. I finished it in 24:56, I think, or something like that. Just under 25 minutes. And I was pumped. Not because like I really wasn't worried about my time. Like I was really hoping I'd finish, but I was focused on like, putting in the effort. And at one point my grip came off too when I was trying to do the muscle ups, and that was like, kind of jarring. So then I was just really stoked. So if you guys, I put it on my second channel, I'll put the video on there, but I was super pumped. I'm not usually someone that gets like fired up after a workout, but I was just like super fired up, because I was able to mentally not get in my head when I was failing muscle ups. Because for me, like, when I start failing muscle ups, I get in my head like, you can't do these anymore. You should just give up. It's not like with a burpee, you're not going to fail it. You just have to, keep pushing. But with muscle ups, it's like, it's a skill, and there really is a point where like you get to a point where you cannot do them anymore. But I just didn't believe that I was there yet. So I was really happy that I was able to push through that, because again, it's what I had been focusing on that whole week anyways. So yeah, I finished that. And then John decided to do the workout.
Hold on though. Remember last week when we were talking about your inner coach?
My what?
Your inner coach.
Yeah.
Just the inner coach in general.
Oh yeah.
Imagine if someone walked up to you and was telling you that. You'd get pissed, right? And you'd be like, who are you? You can't talk to me that way. It's something I've really been thinking about a lot.
It's such a good point, because like even during that workout, I wasn't letting myself tell myself like, you can't do these anymore. It was like, you can do these, and like you were saying, I was like cussing at the pull-up bar.
Right, yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, you cotton-headed ninny muggins.
And then you're like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And then I patted it. But yeah, so like.
So again, I'm going to bring it up again. Like, think of your thoughts as another person who's with you all the time, because that's what it is. And don't let that person talk negatively to you. Don't let that person bully you around. Like, there is so much to your inner thoughts and what you're telling yourself and how you are going to perceive yourself from those thoughts. But I digress.
Yeah. You want to talk about how?
Well,
we were on to you now.
Yeah. Well, later in the day, I did the same workout because it's way too fun to pass up.
Yeah.
And I crushed your time.
Yeah, you did.
And everyone's like, hey, does it feel good to beat your brother? Does it feel good to beat your brother? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to lie. It feels good. And then I was like, I had to beat him. There was no other choice.
Because if I didn't, I would have jumped off a bridge.
Yeah, like, it was literally beat him or die trying. But, I mean, the workout just was a good workout for me. Like, front rack isn't the biggest issue for me. Muscle ups I got before you. I have more of them than you. I'm better at them than you, so no big deal.
It's not fair. I have way more than you do, so that's why.
But it's just you later that night text me like, good job on the workout. And I said, thank you. And then I said, notice how I didn't text you in Glaude. Because every time we do the same workout and if I do it before you, and then you beat me at it, you send me a text that you beat me.
Yeah, I'm just updating you on the current
trust
events.
me, you don't need to do that. Number one, I'm well updated.
Because you're checking.
I have a post notification for any time you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But I'm well aware that you do better than me at a lot of CrossFit workouts. But nonetheless, I didn't send you a gloating text.
Yeah, well, you should do that because I'm not going to stop. So,
you have caused me to do a whole new programming just so we don't have to deal with this anymore.
This is what we deal with. We just argue with each other. It's better.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the Work for Change podcast.
John will usually do better if there's a lot of gymnastic stuff in it. And that's pretty much it.
If I'll do better than you. If there's gymnastic stuff and the point is to what's it called? Like push back, not go all the way in.
Pace?
Pace, yeah. Jeez, I couldn't think of the word. I'll do better with you if the point is to pace. Like I'll do better. And then if it's gymnastic heavy, I'll do better. Mm. And that's just how it is, okay?
Yeah.
You just have to be okay with it.
What if I get better at gymnastics though?
Well, I made the mistake of the day after inviting you to do Misfit with us. And it was a 12-minute AMRAP, 3 movements. So it's not like you're going to like get far into the AMRAP and you still managed to literally lap me. And the first thing I tell you after the workout is this is why I don't do the same workouts as you.
You're so mad at me.
I wasn't mad. I was just like,
so it was an AMRAP of handstand walk, which I really like doing a lot.
Front squat and burpees, which that was the worst part. Was the bar facing burpees.
Those were rough. Oh man, I was drooling for sure.
Yeah. No, I wasn't. I was pacing. I was pacing a 12-minute AMRAP.
All right, so I looked up. I saw something on Twitter, and I want to ask your opinion on it. So it's from our favorite person, John Cena.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Okay.
Do the people you surround yourself with encourage you or burden you? We tend to take on the traits of those we spend the most time with. Do your best to find an environment of encouragement and growth. What do you think about that?
I think yes. I think that is 100% true. I think that you are the accumulation of the 5 closest people to you. And that, when, like, how are inside jokes made? It's by spending time with people, something happens, and now you have an inside joke. Well, when you use that inside joke, you've now changed your language. Mm-hmm. When you use that inside joke, you now change your thought process. When The Office came out with That's What She Said, it's like now anything that's like, man, that was hard. That's what she said. Yeah. Like, it changes your mind. And so the way you process things. So now imagine 5 people, your closest friends, and they're all negative. And anytime a circumstance or a situation comes up, they find the bad thing about it. What's going to happen? Your mind is automatically going to go towards that because that's what it's used to, and that's the climate that it's used to, and that's what you've surrounded it with. Mm. So when you're hanging out with negative people, when you're hanging out with people who are going to bring you down, who are always finding a way to complain, like that's just going to be, it's not even like a real spiritual, like you don't have to be a spiritual person to think about that. You don't have to be a religious or it's just what happens. Mm-hmm. Like it's like just human physiology. Like your brain creates pathways and it like our bodies are efficient, right? They want to do things the most efficient way possible, so it has to burn less energies, take less time. So your mind wants to make connections to things. And so if you start thinking about one thing and you think about that one thing all the time, or you surround yourself with those people who are thinking that thing, your brain goes, oh, this is what you want to think, and it creates a pathway. And then it creates it again, then creates it again, then creates it again. And it's like a freeway that your mind can now take without thinking about it. And when you have enough of those bad people, negative people surrounding you, that's just where your brain goes. And so that's what I think about that quote.
I think that it obviously I agree. But I think that especially when it comes to like if you're trying to get fit or lose weight, it's so true. Mm-hmm. Because like a message I get a lot is I want to lose weight, but my mom, my dad don't want to help, or that they live very unhealthy lives like that. It's really difficult. It really is. And so it's obviously like I've struggled with answering that because I understand how impactful that is, especially if it's your parents, right? Like a lot of times you can't say no. You literally can't, right? And so, but like when it comes to working out, that's why I think that CrossFit helps people so much, because it turns into not just your alone time, which is great, but it turns into a time where you're around people and you get that sense of community. And then, because like for me, it's easy to come to the gym here because I have friends here and I like to talk to them and hang out with them. I'm not coming here to be alone and have my headphones in. Mm-hmm. I'm coming in here to hang out. And then at the same time, like if my friends are going to be pushing hard during a workout, I want to do the same thing. And so it's 100% true. And it's like, also, if you kind of flip it and think, who do I want to be to the people around me? And so it's like, I want to be somebody that people are like happy to be around, that I'm able to like help grow that person and make them feel like, okay, this person is someone I want to be around because they're not negative. They're not making me, like stagnate. They're making me want to grow.
Yeah. Habits are so important. And that's kind of what I was talking about with your brain. But also, like, if I start hanging out with people who, I'm really bad at examples, dang it, skate, and skating is just like a thing they do. One, I'm going to be more interested in skating because they're talking about it all the time. And if they go, hey, let's all hang out, let's just go to the skate park down the street. It's like, now it's like I'm with these people who their habit is to skate, and I'm going to be in the location of a skate park. Sure, I'll step on a board. Mm-hmm. Sure, I'll. If you're hanging out with
people, like people that are smoking or something like
that,
like
exactly,
why would I ever be around that? But if a lot of your friends smoke, then who knows? You might start smoking.
Yeah, but then you think about the positive things, like changing things in your life to make it a habit. So if you drive a specific way to work, right, and it's just the path of least resistance, boom, get to work. Well, maybe choose a new path that has a gym on the way. Mm-hmm. So now you're changing your habit of how you get to work. Your brain is no longer in like cruise control. And it's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave an hour earlier. I'm going to go this other route, which has a gym on the way, get my workout in, go to work. Or I hang out with these people, and a regularly thing they do is they go to the gym on Saturday morning because it's like a big class, Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I hang out with them. This is what they do. I want to hang out with them.
Yeah, I don't want to be alone.
Yeah, I'm going to do what they do. And so, even in the less brain, which I don't know a lot about, but obviously I'm not a brain guy.
Really? I had no idea.
Believe it or not, I'm not a brain guy.
I am not brain guy.
I am not a brain guy. But even just in the real practical things, like your friendships, they just end up defining who you want to be. Now, a lot of people, or I don't know about a lot of people, but I can see the temptation to become very judgmental towards people. Like, let's say you want to change your life, and then these other people don't do it with you. You find new friends, blah, blah. And then you look at your old friends, and you're just like, you didn't change. Like, still love them, but just know, like, if you've got a path that you want to go, like, if you want to improve yourself. I heard this quote once where it was like, if people get mad at you for wanting to improve yourself, like, you got to drop them because they don't want the best for you.
It's so true, man. It's funny that you bring that up because I've dealt with that. I've dealt with people like getting upset because we don't hang out as much or whatever, and saying like, you've changed. I literally one of my friends, ex-friends, like I think they were drinking a little bit, but they ended up messaging me on Facebook. So upset that they said they were going to come to my house and beat me up because I did not hang out with them anymore. And now this is, not somebody that's in my life anymore. But that does happen. And like you said, if somebody is upset with you because you've changed for the better, they were never your friend
because they were never on your team.
Reason.
Yeah, they're never on
they
your
were
team.
Like, I want to bring this person down, and it makes me feel good to bring them down.
Even if it's not I want to bring this person down. It's just that I have no desire to change.
Yeah, there you go.
And I don't want people to change.
Mm-hmm.
I want things to stay how they are. And the reality is, change is always happening. Yeah. Change is inevitable.
So my best friend, his name's Nolan. You know Nolan. He's actually told me that he's had people talk to him and say, what's it like you and John David don't hang out as much anymore, because he's changed. And he's always been like, no, I'm happy for him. I understand that he has, he does what he needs to do. He's doing his thing. I'm not mad at him. And that's how a relationship should be, a friendship.
Exactly. And it's when you're so focused on that other person, you don't even realize that the ways that you're changing, like Nolan, for example, our friend, married, 2 kids, his life is different.
Yeah,
it's not the same. And so you can always look back and be like, well, John David lost weight and all he cares about health. It's yeah, but look at what you're doing. You're married and have children. The paths go different ways. Doesn't mean you have to hate each other and not like each other anymore.
And whenever we hang out, it's just we never, stopped hanging out. So yeah, 100%. I think that it can be really frustrating when people kind of almost attack you because you've changed, but I think that it's silly.
Yeah.
Because change is not always bad. A lot of times it's good. And so people will ask me what do you or people will tell me you've changed since you lost the weight. I'm like, well, yes, but again, I started losing weight when I was 20 years old. Yeah. And I'm 26 years old now. So no matter what, hopefully you've changed too.
Yeah.
In 6 years, especially at that time, a lot of things happen in people's lives. And so I've changed. I think it's for the better, and I've been able to do a lot and help a lot of people. But yeah, I as you can tell, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine when people are you've changed. I'm like, well, okay. Is that bad though? That doesn't have to be an inherently bad thing that somebody's changed.
Yeah, we have to change the way that we view change.
Mm-hmm. We work for change.
Yeah. Yeah, embrace it. Embrace change. Embrace that things didn't go the way you wanted them to. Embrace that people are messy. You know what I mean? Embrace these things because they're not going to stop. It's always going to happen. And if your reaction to change is we talked about it last week, when there's change, there's always complaining every time. There will always be complaining when there's change, but it's also or there can be new opportunities. There can be new things to learn. There can be new ways to approach a situation. But you have to have that mindset of this can work for good in my life. And you have to seek it out. And I think that the default is to run away from it, to be angry about it, because it's uncomfortable. And I've heard multiple people recently talking about you have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You have to place yourself in situations where it is not your ideal situation, so how do you adapt? How do you work through that? And then those are the things that help you grow. Those are the things that challenge you, that make you rise to the occasion. And then when you look back in 6 years, you can say I am no longer the person that I used to be, but I am better for that. I would hate to look back at me 6 years ago and be I was better then. Mm-hmm. I was a better person then.
That would crush me, I feel if that.
Even 1 year, and it's 2018 was kind of a rough year for me. And in the beginning of the year, I kind of had that where was I last year? Am I a better person? Did I just stand still? And I can confidently say, no, I didn't. So much has changed this year. But then it's okay, well, now let's take on this next opportunity. Let's take on this next challenge, and be willing to work through it and stop always looking for the easy way. Like, stop always looking for the path of least resistance. Like look for the challenge, look for the fight, look for that, because you're going to know that you're going to be a better person. And unfortunately, people won't want to do that, and you may lose them in your life. But if your self-betterment is something that is worth it to you, then you got to fight for it. I think that some people make mountains out of hills, like really just dumb things that don't matter. Like, let's bring it all the way back to the beginning of the podcast, like keto. What matters is that you're getting healthy. What matters is that you're finding a way to lose weight to whatever. Like, and some people like keto, and some people like macros, and some people love Weight Watchers, and some people do this. But what, like, that's just a little, like, that's a little county. Mm-hmm. That's a little county in the state of health, right? Like, and so for one person to be like, oh, this county's better than this county, but you all are part of the same state. Like, like, find that unity. Find that you have a care and a desire to better yourself, to better your community, and work on those things instead of always being like, this person.
Yeah.
Like, don't make mountains out of what is it? Mountains out of molehills or whatever.
Mountains out of molehills. Then that's something that I've been working on, is trying to still be able to share what I believe is right, and like share. This is kind of, getting off of that, but yeah, a little bit of a pivot, but is sharing, because like recently I made a video about how I don't want to talk about other people, and that's still what I believe, but it's like I still want to share my truth and what I believe is right. And so, I mean, when the podcast is up, the video will be up. I recently did today, the video is going up, that I talked about how recently Jillian Michaels, she made like this, she's been on this like crusade basically about keto. This is like kind of the person we're talking about, right? She's been like, keto is terrible, it's bad for you. It's like, and for me, it's like, keto works for some people, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so what I'm going to do is share what I think worked, what did work for me, and what I think can work for a lot of people. But in turn, doing that, I don't need to bash keto. I don't need to bash Weight Watchers. I don't need to bash other things. I can say, personally, counting my macros and just having a common sense diet, that's what worked for me, and that's what I think a lot of people can do, and it can be sustainable. But if keto works for you, that's great. I don't need to sit there and say how wrong you are and how, like, you need to fix everything. Like, no, I just need to share what I think works for me, and through the positivity, I think that I can make a change. I don't need to be attacking other people for what they enjoy and what they like to do. Yeah, I mean, if your product is good enough to stand on its own, then you don't need to attack others. Mm-hmm. It's the insecurity of that it's not good, right? It's the insecurity that what you're offering is so sub to whatever, like, not superior, but inferior. Mm-hmm. To everyone else. So that's when you get these people who have to like yell and scream and bash everything else because they're afraid that theirs isn't going to hold up. So if they can tear everyone down, then at least they're the highest one standing, even if it by its own it isn't the highest opinion. And so when you're confident in your product or your belief or your whatever, like, then there isn't a need to tear others down. Just keep on building yours. Keep on building it, and over time, like, that'll show. Consistency will show. And if what someone's doing is not sustainable, then they'll rise and then they'll fall because it wasn't sustainable. And if what you're doing is sustainable, then you'll just keep on rising, And that's exactly what I've been focused on, is like, I'm just going to keep doing me. And I get comments of people being like, man, I've been following you for X amount of years, and like, you've never fallen off. You've shown that you're consistent. Nobody can say I'm not consistent, you know, because I definitely am. Right. And so like, I've realized that that's where my strength is through, you can go back years on my Instagram and you can see I've never had a time where I've, gained a significant amount of weight back. It's never happened. And I can say with 100% confidence, it will never happen. Yeah. And I don't think I'm sounding cocky with that. I just am very confident in what I do and the way that I eat, the way that I train, the lifestyle I've built for myself. I don't think I will ever. I know I will never gain the weight back. That's not, and it's so for me, if me sharing my journey is what shows people that it's possible, then that's what I need to do. I don't need to sit there and be like, no, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. I still like, I still want to share. And if there's something that I think is genuinely harmful for somebody, then I'm going to bring it up, you know, because there 100% are things out there, especially when it comes to people trying to help people lose massive amount of weights, that are harmful, that will mess up your relationship with food, that could give you legit disordered eating and stuff like that. So, it's finding that balance, but I think most of the time I'm just going to focus on being the best version of me and hopefully shine to other people. And then they'll be able to see that and be like, what is he doing? Yeah. Let me just find out what he promotes, what he thinks is right, and let me follow that. Instead of, what does he hate? I won't do that.
I mean, you've heard the phrase, and it's no new phrase, and it's really corny, but like your vibe attracts your tribe. Like
your vibe, we're vibing.
Yeah, your vibe attracts your tribe, but it's like what you put out is what you attract. So if you are a person like on your channel, like if you're putting out content that is constantly bashing people,
it's
that you'll realize that there's more of that, and then there's more of that, and then there's more of that, and more people are doing that, and more people, and it's when there's a community focused on hate towards someone else, it just feels gross.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just feels disgusting. When there's a community focused on embettering and empowering, there's like a lightness about it. Yeah. There's like this, it's like you can breathe easy there. There's no eggshells to walk on. I got stuck on this like stupid like Instagram troll, not of me, but it was like on one of your pictures, someone was commenting about someone else, and they were like, John, what's your opinion on this person? And then they just like started saying nasty things about that person. And then so I'm like, what the heck? So I went to this guy's profile, and it's like literally dedicated. Like every post is like just bashing and making fun of. And then he's got like a couple thousand followers, and they're all like bashing. And it's just like this gross community where it's like I don't want to be a part of that. Like I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want to be like in that. And it was actually kind of making me angry to a point where like, okay, I'm done. Like click out. Like I'm over this. It's just there really is just this like, if you spend your time being negative, you're going to find more negative people in your life, because that's what you're going to attract, and it's not attractive.
Yeah. And one thing I've been trying to be more positive about is, so this is another pivot, but recently, a couple days ago, I put out like a video on my Instagram where I was shirtless, and I was kind of just showing what my loose skin looks like, because I haven't done like a video in a while, like just kind of showing it. I've done pictures, and I knew in that post there would be people being negative, right? And or not even negative, I don't even want to put it that way, but just people that don't agree with it's weird, but that don't agree with me not getting surgery, right? And there was this woman that was saying like, it's time to get rid of the skin.
I'm sorry, but think about like what mind space are you in to where you feel it is your obligation to let someone know about their opinion of their body that you don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Like at what mind space do you need to be in to be like, I know that you've agreed on this and you've talked about it multiple times and you say you don't do this, but I think you're wrong. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, and I have people that literally like will say that almost like, I don't believe that you're comfortable, or I don't believe that. And I'm like, why would I lie?
Yeah.
And then, or people that are like, there was one comment, and so I'm just like having fun with it, right? There's one comment like, time to get the surgery. And I was like, okay, you pay for it, because I'm like, it's like $30,000.
Yeah.
Like, let me just drop that down real quick.
Yeah.
But the thing, like, it's like when people say that stuff, and this is something I'm still working on, I need to not think of it as them attacking me, but them just sharing their opinion and just like let it be there. But yeah, it's just, I've always found it weird that people do have such a strong opinion on my body, because like the thing with the issue that I've found with most people when they think of loose skin surgery, they think like it's painful when you get it, and then you're good after a month or 2 or 3 or whatever it might be, and then you're good. But the thing is like, this is going to sound, and I'm not trying to bash anyone that's got loose skin surgery, but it's not like when you get the surgery, your body looks quote unquote normal. It's still obvious that there was something happened, right? Yeah. It's not like, oh, you look like you could be on a fitness model now or a fitness magazine. It still looks different. So for me, the reason I've made the decision to not get it, or I don't have any plans, who knows in 20 years, I don't know, right? Yeah. But like in the near future, I have no plans, is because
you don't know if like something happen, if your skin,
who knows, right?
Skin can get irritated, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. If I ever was starting to get rashes or like legit like having health issues because of my skin, I would get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or I would at least try and, I don't know, because again, it's not like I have the money for it, but like I would still try and start the process, right? But I don't. I genuinely don't have any issues like that. So for me, it's like I'm able to do what I love doing. I'm able to train really hard. As long as I have a compression shirt, I'm good. I'm good to go. It's not an issue. I don't have any pain. I'm able to.
Yeah, and you don't even always need the compression shirt. I remember one time there was a workout. You're like, well, didn't bring my shirt. Whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the time I want to have it just so that it is more comfortable for sure. And like, if that's the price I have to pay by making sure I have a compression shirt with me, like, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
To me, at least. And I am very much accepted by my friends and significant other and things like that. Like, so I don't feel like I'm not accepted.
Your boyfriend?
No. It's a girl. And so she doesn't have an issue with it. So it's like, for me, I'm just like, I don't have any reason. And again, like, to go through the pain for months. And again, for me, it wouldn't be a one-time thing. I would have to have multiple surgeries, right? If I wanted to, quote unquote have a normal body, right?
Yeah.
I would have to do it on my belly and my chest and my legs and my butt and all of that stuff. That you can't do that in one sitting. It just would be way too much. So for me, it's like, I've always just thought it's weird that people have such strong opinions on my body and like what I'm doing. And like, the argument that people have is like, oh, you're just like profiting off the loose skin. Or it's like, it's what you do. And I'm like, what money have I made off of having loose skin?
Yeah.
Like, I talk about it every once in a while because it is something I deal with every day. I see it every day.
And you get questions.
Yeah, I get questions every day.
Yeah.
And so I like to share what's going on and show people, because like, most of the comments, and like, I don't want to just focus on the negative, most of the comments were like, wow, it's looking really good, or like, you've inspired me, because the fact of the matter is, a lot of people will never be able to get the surgery, no matter how much loose skin they have, because it's cosmetic, so their medical isn't going to cover it, and a big part of it is how expensive it is, so it's not like you can afford it. And a lot of people on Instagram they get their surgeries paid for by like surgeons, so they can post it on the social media. So it's like, they're not even paying for it, know? And so it's just, for me, it's like, the risk to reward, like dealing with all the pain and all that, for me, it's just not worth it. I have nothing against anybody getting the surgery at all. Like, seriously, it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's great when people do it and they're like, that's what they want and they're happy afterwards. I mean, I'm stoked for you. But for me, it's just like, I don't feel like I need it, And so I'm trying to work on, like, when I do post about it and like when people have their, their points of view that maybe don't agree with me, just being like, you know what, that's fine. They can have that point of view. I don't need to look at it as a negative thing, unless obviously they're being negative and being mean.
Yeah.
But if they're just saying like, or even literally asking questions, why haven't you got rid of the skin yet or whatever, just answering it, not being like, oh, they're trying to attack me,
Yeah, and it's interesting that you deciding not to get it is so offensive to so many people, which is weird.
Yeah.
But like, they will present it angrily at you, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're offended that I don't view the same thing as you, and you have no care if they offend you. Like, they're offended. How dare someone do that? And then they go and do the exact same thing, like, back. Like, it just doesn't make sense. That's neither here nor there. It's just, it is a very, like, it's not a complete thought, if you will.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm offended. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Welcome. Like, welcome to Earth. Like, it happens. Like,
and I'm sorry that my body offends you. Like, I didn't say anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's just like, me being happy with the body I have offends you, I guess.
Yeah.
The body that I worked really hard for as well.
Yeah. I heard a comedian once on Facebook or something, some video, and it was like, I don't like that. I'm offended. And the guy's like, okay. Like, what happens now?
Yeah.
Nothing. You're offended and then you move on. Like, that's what happens. That's the worst that happens. And I think that we are so, and you got to be careful, because people will be offended that I said that, and then they'll tweet up a storm about it. But it's like, it's just so interesting that we don't know how to handle a different opinion. And it, like, you gotta grow. Like, you gotta get past that. You have to understand that people have different opinions than you, but that doesn't mean that you can't talk and communicate. Like, anyway.
Yeah. It's not the end of the world.
It's not. You just get offended and you move on.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
just move on.
Sweet.
Cool, dude. Well.
Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No.
No, you're good?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm afraid that if I bring something up, you'll find some way to make fun of me, and it would offend me.
Well then, sweet. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 12, right?
Yep.
12. Again, if you want to check us out or if you want to leave us a review or anything like that, that would be great. Maybe we'll read it here on the podcast.
Apologize if this was a little ranty, more ranty than normal.
Yeah, man. This is the rant episode for sure.
Yeah, this is the rant episode. That's going to be the title of it.
I like it.
The rant episode. But we do... It's interesting. Like, a lot of the times, the person who is ranted against doesn't get the voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of the times it is the mad, this angry person, and then there's no, like, platform for the person to, like, speak back. So, I don't know. We're not hating on anyone, and we're not ranting against anyone. We just feel like we need to rant against negativity.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna rant against anything, I'm okay with being known as a guy who ranted against negativity.
Yep.
Like,
sounds good to me.
thank you guys so much for listening to the Work for Change podcast. We will catch you guys next time. Peace.